Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are out there, please, let's see. You can do the thumbs up or you can do some hearts, whichever one works best for you, just to let me know that you're there. All right, so today I would like to say thank you for coming. I hope that today, on today's inspiration, today is actually Therapy Thursday, and with the faith community. I would encourage you to make sure that you follow the faith community and make sure you stay connected in that way so that you'll get notifications whenever we come on or when we're doing events and things of that nature. So today is Therapy Thursday, and I am grateful to have the opportunity to come again before you. I am Melanie Ivey, your emotional intelligence coach, and last time we talked, I had a great time sharing with you some things that you can actually implement with your family or with yourself, just to sort of make sure that you are in a position where you are being healthy. And hey, Christian, where you're being healthy and you're really taking control of your emotional health. So I know it's been, I think this is week 4, if I'm not incorrect, with the quarantine time in our Daily Bread series. And with that being said, I'm sure you guys have experienced, if not, you may need to prepare yourself to experience some heightened anxiety or stress because of the timing. You know, a lot of people, it's a lot of unknowns right now. And so what I wanted to do today was share some information about, hi Michelle, some information about this concept called fear of missing out. And the acronym for fear of missing out is FOMO. So you may hear me say that a little bit during this time. And I want to share the concept because I want you to be aware that you actually may be experiencing this and you didn't have a name to put with it. So I want to also talk about some signs of when you may be experiencing FOMO, which is fear of missing out, and some ways that you can actually reverse this, which has its own acronym as well, which is JOMO. And JOMO stands for joy of missing out. So I'm excited about sharing this concept with you. And I want to start by giving you the definition of fear. Since FOMO is fear of missing out, I think it would be helpful to give you some context and give you the definition of fear so you can get an idea of what that really is. So fear is an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation. Or another way to define fear is anxious concern. So when you think about this, if you replace the fear in FOMO, you could really just say it's an unpleasant, often strong emotion caused by anticipation of missing out. Or you could replace fear with an anxious concern of missing out. And so this is a real thing. People really suffer from this. And the cause of it actually is social media. I know I don't want to be the bad person, but with everything, there's a good side and there's a bad side. And so today, I want to focus on the negative sides of social media so that when you may experience them or you may know someone who may be suffering, you can recognize it and you then will have the power to correct it. So let's get started. Okay, so I want to talk about 5 effects of FOMO. Again, that's fear of missing out. And the reason I want to share these is because each one builds on the other. So as I go through 1, then 1 builds into 2, 2 builds into 3, 3 builds into 4, 4 builds into 5. And so let's get started. So it's a domino effect. So some effects of FOMO are increased social media usage. Now, prior to this COVID-19 happening, all of us have had an experience where we pretty much look at social media every day in some capacity. You know, it could be 10 minutes, it could be an hour, it could be a whole 3 or 4 hours before you know it's already there. And so since we are all confined into our homes right now, it's a heightened awareness of pretty much we're looking for ways to sort of appease ourselves. And so the internet, social media, of course, is the go-to. and we may be experiencing more heightened usage of it right now. So you have to be in a position where you just have to be aware of it. Now, there's nothing wrong with the heightened usage if you're using it within your own boundaries that are healthy. It's nothing wrong with social media. I want to say that again. It's your usage of it. So with anything that's good, there's always another side of it that could be negative depending on how you decide to do your boundaries. So number one, we mentioned increased social media usage. Well, when it's used in a negative context, that leads to number two. And number two is an increased levels of comparison. Who's guilty? Raise your hand if you are, or if you don't want to say anything, that's okay. You know, and that's all that matters. So when you have an increased social media usage, some people have heightened levels of comparison. And when you have that heightened level of comparison, it causes frustration. Before you know it, you're feeling jealous and you're envious of whatever it is you're seeing, or you're thinking that you should be a part of, or why did they invite me, or how did I not get the invite to that event? At this point, all of us have no events to go to unless they're online, but even so, you still could experience that. And so the thing that you could do to help yourself with that one is focus on the fact that comparison actually robs you of the opportunity to celebrate your own wins. You are a winner right now. And so you want to make sure that when you feel that heightened happening, you know, you say, oh, wait a minute. I am the mom myself. Wait, I have done this, this, and this. And a lot of times in society, especially right now, I hope that it's helping people realize that they really need to celebrate themselves more so than they have before. There are so many things that you win at every day. So make sure that when you feel that level of comparison, you sort of are aware that it was because of an increased usage of social media. So that's number one. Number two, the comparison. Then the comparison leads to number three, which is an increased feeling of unhappiness or a low sense of satisfaction. I don't want y'all to feel that way, which is why we're going through this list. So again, number one is an increased social media can lead to FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Number two, that leads to comparison, an increased level of it. And then number three, you start feeling unhappy. You start feeling a low sense of satisfaction. Your contentment just goes out the door. Then that leads, can you believe it, leads to another thing. Number four is an increase of anxiety and depression. Now, right now with everything else that's happening, we already have all of us. Nobody's exempt from having some level of anxiety. However, again, you can control how much of a boundary you want to put on that. Some stuff is out of our control. We definitely know that. All of us have experienced that. But then you don't want to experience an increased amount of that, especially when you can actually control that. And I want to suggest that those who have people in their homes, your children, your spouse, whoever you're quarantined with, be aware when their moods and their emotions change during this time period. It could be because of the increased social media that led to the comparison, that led to the unhappy feelings. And then now they're feeling anxiety in a more increased way and depression. And then number five, that leads to a greater involvement in unhealthy behavior. Yep, I said it. Unhealthy behavior. So the unhealthy behavior becomes a problem because that's derived by the thoughts and the beliefs that you have. And when you have thoughts and beliefs that have been impacted by the other four things I mentioned prior to this one, and you have to take back control. And so you really have to watch what you listen to, what you watch, and what you read. Again, you have the control. You have to watch what you listen to, what you watch, and what you read, especially during this time, okay? So again, we've gone over all five effects of FOMO, which is, say it with me, fear of missing out. So again, I just want to say real quick. Number one, increased social media usage. Number two, increased levels of comparison, which leads to number three, increased feelings of unhappiness, which leads to number four, increased anxiety and depression. And then Lord knows, number five is the greater involvement of unhealthy behaviors. Now we all have our bouts with, trying to stay healthy and keep our minds straight. But hopefully this will help you recognize when it's happening to you. especially during COVID-19, there's this extra layer of anxiety that we're all experiencing because we don't have we all are in a position where there are a lot of unknowns right now. So it's extremely easy to fall into FOMO, into a pattern of continual FOMO. And so it's because we're all trying to look for ways to escape this situation. But again, when you feel it, don't feel bad, but hopefully this will help you recognize it, and then you can have the power to change it. So I want to say there is hope. So let's talk about JOMO, which is joy of missing out. So we're going to start this again with sharing what the definition of joy is. And joy is the emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune. So if you were to replace the joy of missing out with that, you could just say the emotion evoked by well-being, success, or good fortune of missing out. This is something we all should strive to do, because this is where our intrinsic values get to shine and they get to magnify, not only for us, but the people around us. And so I want to talk about 5 ways that you can incorporate the joy of missing out in your daily life. Are you ready? Okay. So number one is change your focus. I know you're like, Melanie, that sounds pretty simple. No, some people struggle with this, but I do want to emphasize you have the power to change your focus. Rather than focusing on what you don't have or what you're lacking, try focusing on what you have. And when you try this exercise, you'll be actually surprised at how much you actually have versus what you're lacking. It's all in the perspective. So again, number 1 is change your focus. And some ways that you can change your focus are by adding more positive people to your feed. For example, if you're following people, especially on Instagram or Twitter, that evoke that FOMO in you, you feel your temperature rise and you feel your chest getting tight, you feel the rise of jealousy or envy coming upon you, guess what? You can change that situation. So add more people that actually speak life into you instead of taking life from you into your feeds. That's one thing that you could do to change your focus. And another thing to go along with what I just mentioned was that you can unfollow the people that give you those FOMO tendencies. It's all up to you. It's just a click away. So I would encourage you to change your focus and take back the energy that you were giving to them that was causing your FOMO tendencies. Number 2 is focus on gratitude. Now, the last time I was with you all, I mentioned an exercise that I encourage you to do with your family, writing 5 things that you're grateful for every day. And I thought that would be a really cool idea to do with your children in particular, so that all of you guys can always exercise gratitude even in the midst of this situation. And so today I have a new challenge for you. First, when it comes to focusing on gratitude, you can do something like tell somebody why you appreciate them, because that takes the feelings of anxiety and stress off of you, and it focuses on the abundance that you already have. Isn't that awesome? So the challenge I have for this particular number 2, focus on gratitude, I'm going to give you 2 seconds to get your paper and pen, because you have homework. I know you weren't expecting homework on an inspirational minute, but that is just who I am. So the homework is, are you ready? And if you don't have your paper, make sure you listen to this video again so you can jot down this exercise. And I would love to hear how well it went for you. The exercise is to make a list of the people that are closest to you, that you really feel connected to, and they're your, ride or die, your family. Even if they're not your blood family, you consider them family because you're so close. So you're going to make a list of these people. That's number 1, step 1 of the challenge. And then number 2, I want you to make it a priority in your daily list of things to do. You're going to actually contact these people. And you can do it every day. You can do 5 a day, however you want to do it, once a week, whatever you want to do. You're going to contact these people and you're going to ask them 2 questions. 2, okay? 2 questions. And the first question is, ask them to share 3 things they value about your connection. Just 3 things. It could be friendships or relationships. Again, this is your list that you're creating for the people that mean the most to you. And you're going to ask them, number 1, for 3 things they value about your connection. Number 2, you're going to ask them 3 things they view as an opportunity to strengthen your connection. I know you're thinking, why am I doing this? This is a great time, especially if you have tendencies of FOMO, to reconnect with what matters. And so when you do this exercise with your list, I want you to also be in a position to answer the 2 questions for them regarding your connection with them. And you'll be absolutely surprised at the information that you probably didn't know, or just understanding more of how you can truly be there for them, even in the midst of this. And even after COVID-19 is over, your connection will be stronger because you actually took the time to refocus your energy from the FOMO to be in more of a JOMO mood, which again is what? Joy of missing out. Okay? Does that sound like a pretty good exercise? Put why in the thing, or no, or something to let me know if that's a good idea. Okay, so we've gone over, again, we've done number one, we've done change your focus. Number 2, we just talked about focusing on gratitude and the ways that you can do that with the exercise I provided. Number 3 is take a break from social media. The world is not going to end. The sky is not going to turn purple. I'm telling y'all, it's a beautiful thing. If you need to, you feel the need, take a break from social media. That's a cuss word in some people's vocabulary at this point, but I think it's actually a way to protect your energy, protect your health from an emotional perspective. Now you decide how long that's going to be. You know, that could be, some people have tried, half a day, 2 hours, couple of days, couple of months. Some people have gone longer. Whatever you feel is most comfortable for you, you can give it a try, and then maybe you can extend it later. But take a break. Don't feel guilty either about turning off your phone. That's something I have learned recently since January with some things I'm experiencing, that it's okay not to answer your phone. So I actually feel freer doing that. And you focus on enjoying the company that you have in your house or with yourself. Get into the habit of being comfortable with spending time with yourself too. So many people aren't. And so I would encourage you to, number 3, take a break from social media. Number 4, know your priorities. It's important that you know your priorities. Why? Why, Melanie? I'm going to tell you why. Everybody has different priorities. And so because everybody has different priorities, the key is to know what yours are. If you know what your priorities are, then you don't have time to be jealous, envious of nobody else's successes and their drives and whatever they're doing, because you are focused on your priorities. And if you focus on your priorities, then your time is spent moving your priorities forward. So it's very important that you know your priorities. So again, number 1 way to do JOMO, to incorporate JOMO, which is joy of missing out, is to change your focus. Number 2, tell me what number 2 is. Focus on gratitude. And number 3 is take a break from social media. Number 4 is know your priorities. And the last one is number 5, be intentional with your time. This is a huge one. Be intentional with your time. This is so important as far as scheduling things you want to do in your day. Lots of people are working from home right now. There are other people who are not in a position, unfortunately, to work. But it's still important for you to structure your day. Get up and make sure that you decide what's important for that day and work towards completing whatever you deem important for that day. I have this vision I want to give you. So let's say you have a big vase, and you have big rocks. and you put the big rocks in first, those are the things that are most important to you. And the little rocks would fall into the category of what's secondary as far as importance. So that as long as you get to the big rocks, you feel like you've done something. You feel like you've been productive, and the little rocks will fill in the holes that are in the vase, and then you feel like you've done everything. So it's all about setting yourself up for success every day, to feel like you're making progress. If your progress for the day is just resting, do a good old job resting. Whatever that is, make sure that you set your priorities and you're intentional with your time. So I just want to leave one thing with you, something to think about, okay? The most expensive commodity that we have is time. Each of us get a new stack of I call it time, every day. And it's up to us how we spend this time. So you can either spend your time making priceless memories, resetting, recalibrating, and planning for the future. That's your choice. Or you could spend your time making non-refundable deposits into pursuits that leave you bankrupt. That's not a good thing. But however, the choice is yours. You need to make the choice that you will be most proud of. So I appreciate you all listening. Again, I enjoyed sharing with you about the fear of missing out and ways that you can identify it, and also how you can reverse FOMO when you do recognize it in your own situation, and replace that with joy of missing out, which is JOMO, and how you can do that every day. I actually want to thank you all for your time. This is, again, Therapy Thursday. I am Melanie Ivey, your emotional intelligence coach, and I will encourage you to stay with the faith community. I also want to encourage you to join us on Saturdays, and it's at 4 p.m. So make sure that you go to the website, or you can go to our webpage on Facebook or Instagram, and you can sign up there, because we have a private link that we'll provide for you if you want to join us on Saturdays. So make sure you get on the email list. You guys take care, and I will see you later.